What's up, y'all? It's Darius from DariusCooks.tv. I am super excited to show you this recipe. It is my grandmother's smothered pork chops. These pork chops are so good. They take me back to my childhood when you could smell something cooking from way down the street. Let me show you how we did it. It's very simple. So we're gonna start by taking center cut pork chops and we're going to season them heavily. So I'm gonna start by adding in some salt and also some pepper. A little bit of garlic powder is gonna go in. I'm gonna also add in some onion powder for a distinct zippy flavor that you're only gonna get from onion powder. And then I add some dried fennel and a little bit of sazon is gonna go in for extra flavor. I'm gonna marinate these pork chops for as long as I can. The longer, the better. We're gonna add in some buttermilk, right? Because the buttermilk is gonna get all the flavors, the seasonings and the spices mixed in really well. But then before we fry them, the most important thing my grandmother always did was she would put the pork chops on the counter and let them come to room temperature. It's important because you never wanna fry up these pork chops when they're super cold. Let them rest for a little bit. They'll be perfect, I promise. And then what's important now is the oil. So I'm gonna fry these in peanut oil because it's a high smoking point, it's gonna be great. Also, it's gonna add a little bit of extra flavor with the peanut oil. The key, cast iron skillet, it's the only way I know how to do it. It's the way my grandmother did it, it's the way I do it today. Then the oil has to be nice and hot. Here's a key remedy if you're not sure if the oil is hot. My grandmother always took a little bit of flour and sprinkled it right in the oil. If the flour bubbled up, you knew the oil was hot and ready to go. Put the pork chops in. We're gonna fry the pork chops until they're golden brown. We're gonna flip them only one time. So you put them in, let them sit for a few minutes, let them start to turn golden brown, and then you can flip the pork chops over. When the pork chops are done, we're gonna take them out and drain them on a paper towel. That's super important. You wanna get the excess oil off. Now for the gravy. So amazing. You're gonna take the same skillet you cooked the pork chops in, you're gonna drain off most of the oil, leave a little bit there. And then the magic happens with those pan drippings. You're gonna add in onion, you're gonna add in bell pepper, you're gonna add in celery, and you're gonna add in garlic. And the whole house is going to start to smell like 1989 all over again. Once those peppers and onions and garlic start to sweat out, we're gonna add in some flour. The key here is you're gonna make what's called a roux. It's a thickening agent for our gravy. It's the base of all gravies. Once the roux is added in, you're gonna cook it until it turns like a dark brown. The more you cook it, the richer the flavor is gonna be. Now here's the key. Instead of adding water, I'm gonna add in half chicken stock and then half beef stock. It's gonna give us lovely flavor for the gravy. Let that cook up for a little bit. It's gonna turn nice and thick, and we're gonna nestle those pork chops right back into that gravy. Let the pork chops cook for a few minutes to heat back up. Let them soften, let them become one and make love to that gravy, and then you're ready to rock and roll with this recipe. These pork chops are absolutely astounding, and they're probably one of the best things you're ever gonna eat this year, I guarantee. The recipe, you know where to find it. It's gonna be on my website. It's DariusCooks.tv. Listen, there are two things I gotta tell you as I always do, and that's food is my life, life is my food. With pork chops like these, I gotta wish you happy cooking from my heart to yours.